Welcome back to Tutorial Tidbits and welcome to my channel. I'm Elizabeth St. Hilaire, and this week I have been inspired to experiment further with Deco Foil. Now, Deco Foil is a shiny foil-like metallic product, and they have their own proprietary adhesive. And this is two different versions of adhesive, and they both have checks in the plus column and the minus column, or maybe only one of them has checks in the minus column. Anyway, I'm going to share with you how I like the way that both of them work. And the last video I used it with Tacky When Dry Gel, dimensional gel, and this video we're going to use it with liquid adhesive and adhesive in a marker pen so that we can apply it over the ghost print of a mask. So here's some beautiful blue metallic in something that we can use for a mixed media background. So if you've got a few minutes, let's go check out Deco Foil's adhesive glues. Welcome to the studio. So this week I am once again playing with iCraft Deco Foil. I'll link a video in the upper right hand corner information box for you on a previous video that I used the Deco Foil with Tacky When Dry Gel pressed through a stencil to create this dimensional foil application through a pattern of one of my stencils. So today I am inspired by the idea of using a mask, and since I am not going to be able to press the Tacky When Dry Gel through the mask because the mask is created by the positive shapes, I investigated other ways that I could apply Deco Foil to my projects. So Deco Foil has its own proprietary adhesive that comes in a squeeze top liquid bottle as well as a pen. Now these don't hold dimension and can't be, well, the squeeze top glue does hold a little bit of dimension. The pen is very flat, but neither of them can be pressed through a stencil like the Tacky When Dry Gel from the previous video. So what inspired me is that recently on my Patreon page, I created these backgrounds with the gel plate, with the 12 by 12 gel plate on 12 by 12 smooth and sturdy cardstock, black, that is produced by Joggles, or was produced by Joggles specifically for this Patreon lesson of mine. So the idea behind this lesson was to print these beautiful backgrounds and then adhere them to a wood panel so that they could be the background for a mixed media project. So adhering them to a wood panel with gloss gel or gel medium, and then having them on a cradled board to be the background for a mixed media project. Well, when I saw these again from my previous lesson, I realized that they were a great color palette for the dark blue Deco Foil and featuring my Starry Spirals mask from the Van Gogh collection. I thought that the Starry Dark Night would be perfect for the foil and the Starry Spirals. So let me back up a little bit. So this was a little bit of an involved background with some stamping and some layering of metallic paints on the black smooth and sturdy. I'm going to do something similar to that for this project, and again I would adhere it with gel medium to this cradled panel and have it be the background for a mixed media project. But you also could do this in an art journal, or to create a cover for a tag book, or any kind of other project that you might be able to use when you're working on this beautiful black smooth and sturdy cardstock. But my idea is always to, how am I going to incorporate it into mixed media collage work? I'm going to use it as a background and mount it to this wood panel. So I'm using golden fluid acrylics, ultramarine blue, teal, and a little bit of interference blue. A lot of the times people don't understand what interference exactly does. Well, it is giving a blue shimmer. If you look at that when I tip it to the side, it's going to give a blue metallic sort of iridescent shimmer to the blue paint, and it really shows up the best over dark color background. So I'm going to make a simple dark blue background, and I don't want to cover the whole plate because I want to leave some of the black cardstock showing through to give me that dark starry night. So I'm going to put out the ultramarine blue and add in a little bit of the interference, and I'm going to blend that, but not out completely. So I'm going to make sure that I leave some room for that black cardstock to show through. So I'm just going to sort of press the brayer around and leave some spaces for black, and we'll see what we get. So then I'm going to take the black smooth and sturdy cardstock, which is cut to 12 by 12, and I'm working on a 12 by 12 gel plate and a standard size of a 12 by 12 wood panel for the end project. And I'm just going to press this onto the plate. Now this cardstock is really smooth on the surface, and that will pull all of the paint from the gel plate. And the rigid surface of it is great for gluing down to the wood panel because it's not going to wrinkle. The beautiful thing about this cardstock is that it's pretty darn thick and rigid. So when I go to mount that to this wood panel with gel medium, I don't have to worry about it wrinkling. I'm just going to line it up. I'm going to lather on the gel medium. I'm going to line this up. I'm going to smooth it out, and then put a weight on it and leave it until overnight. And I'm going to do that when I'm done gel printing because I want to make sure that I get the perfect print that I want to mount to that board. So before I mount it to the board, I'm going to practice and get the perfect print. So that's how I would use this project in my mixed media collage work. So I'm going to pull this up, and you're going to see that beautiful sort of interference, kind of metallic blue, starry pattern, starry night, dark. And I picked up some little crusted bits from my plate, but that is just fine. It's giving me a nice dark night base layer. So again, I used ultramarine blue and interference blue, but you could use interference blue with any dark blue that you have on hand. Now, the next step is to get a ghost print or a positive image of this Starry Spirals, and I'm going to put it, I think, towards the top of the page like that. And then I'll have a subject that'll have this in the background. So I'm going to put this up towards the top, maybe run it off the top a little bit and leave myself a little bit of the background that's just blue with the black. And I think I'm going to go this way. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to put the teal paint out on the plate. And because I'm using the ghost print of this, I'm going a little heavy on my paint so that I have a lot of it trapped underneath the mask. And then I'm going to put the mask right in where I think I want it to fall on the paper because my plate is the same size as my paper. And then I'm going to pull a print of this just with, here's some tissue paper. This is just a cleanup sheet. I'm doing this to pull the paint out so that I am working with the ghost print. And you want to make sure you get everything extra off the plate. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Some amount of this paint is going to stick to the back of the mask, so that's why you have to go a little heavy. So we're going to lift that up, and there's the beautiful spiral pattern that I'm now going to transfer onto this print. So again, I'm going to line that right up. This is 12 by 12 cut to match the 12 by 12 gel plate, and the Van Gogh mask is 12 inches wide, so that works really well. It goes all the way across. And anytime you're using a mask, which includes the windy night, the starry spirals, and the cloudy night, those are going to be positive with the ghost print. So in order to foil these patterns, we're going to go on top specifically with the liquid adhesive and or the foil adhesive pen. Okay, so here we go. And we got a beautiful print of the spirals onto the dark blue background. And I'm going to come in with the liquid adhesive. Now this comes in a squeeze top, and you just simply snip off the point, and it's really easy to squeeze this out. And I'm just going to go along and copy or follow the pattern of the spiral. This has a little bit of dimension to it when you squeeze it out, but it's not really raised up like the gel that we used in a previous video, but it's a little bit raised up. So I get a little bit piling up on the tip, and I'm gonna wipe that, come back in here. And I'm following the spiral, but I don't have to follow it perfectly because I'm gonna let that teal paint and the Deco Foil work together. I'm gonna do a few of them, and then I'm also gonna show you what the adhesive pen looks like. The adhesive pen has quite a wide tip on it, so you can get some more fine line detail with the squeeze liquid adhesive, especially if you snip. I snip this tip kind of down far a little bit. If you snip it a little further up, you can probably get even finer squeeze opening. So the pen is basically like a marker, and you're going to depress the tip to get it primed, kind of like a Posca pen. And then we're going to press and then draw with the pen. It's a little harder to see. It goes on a little more transparent. You can see this one with the squeeze top, you can see that a lot better. This is thinner and definitely wider with this tip. So we'll do a couple with this. So in my experience so far, I feel as though I like the squeeze top liquid better than the pen because I can get a thinner line and I can see it better. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm gonna come in here with the ultramarine blue and a little bit, just a little bit, and my brush, a wet brush here. And I'm just gonna kind of clean up some of that over. Doesn't have to be completely clean, but I just want to tone back some of that bright teal color that came over down the bottom here. And I'm gonna put a little interference in there as well. And I'm just gonna dab it in here to tone back some of that teal. Okay, so now we just have to wait for this to dry clear. You can see that the adhesive pen is probably gonna dry faster because it's a thinner, flatter application. With any luck, the squeeze gel will dry with a little bit of raised edge. It does look like it's going to do that. And the pen is going to be flatter. So I would say there's 2 checks in the plus column for being able to squeeze this out thinner and for it having a little bit of a raised dimension. This one, the tip is, like I said, the tip is quite wide. So it's not a lot of fine line detail, and you have to keep pressing it, and it's pretty flat. But we'll see how the foil adheres. So you can see why I chose this nice deep blue foil color. It's going to be really close to the color of the background, but it doesn't completely cover the teal. So the two are going to work together because I've got some of these spirals that I didn't put any adhesive on, and I've got some that have thin line and some that have thick line because of the 2 different applicators. So the key now is just to be patient and let this dry so it's completely clear. Everything needs to be clear, no more white. And when you touch it, it's going to be tacky. And that is what is going to transfer the foil. Okay, so the glue is dry, and we can see when we tip it to the light, I think you can see there's some dimension. There is some dimension with the squeeze adhesive that there is not with the marker. So the marker is very flat, but the squeeze has stayed up, slightly raised from the liquid adhesive. So now we're going to apply this beautiful sort of midnight blue color foil to what we've got down. So we're going to put the pretty side up, and I'm just going to go over this whole thing. And I'm going to burnish it with my fingernails, or I can roll over it with a brayer tool. But I think I'm going to use my fingers because I think the paint on that brayer is wet, and we don't want to add any paint to the top of this. So you can see that with your fingertips or a wooden spoon even, you could use to burnish and rub this on. And here's the flat pen adhesive, and here's the raised up liquid adhesive. So let's see how this looks. Ooh, what a nice addition. Wow, wow. So here you can see the pen is flatter and a much wider tip, and the liquid adhesive in the squeeze top is a much finer and slightly raised up. But actually both of them together is kind of interesting. So I've got more up here. And then what you want to do is feel to see if you missed any spots. And I'm going to bring out a new sheet. If you have any sticky spots, that means you've missed spots, and you don't want any sticky left when you use this for a background for something. So you want to make sure you get foil over all of the sticky adhesive areas. And again, the best way to test that is to just feel. Okay, so now I have added some shine and foil dimension to my Starry Vincent van Gogh night background. And the beauty of this cardstock, again, is that it's going to mount to that cradled panel nice and flat, and that it has such a nice smooth surface that it pulls all the paint off the gel plate. And I think that's just lots of fun for an art journal background or a mixed media background or scrapbooking or whatever. Love me some Deco Foil shiny bling applied very specifically with one or both of these adhesive tools. So thank you for being here, and thank you for messing around with mixed media backgrounds with me. The one with the cool Deco Foil and the effects of the Starry Night. And also wanted to remind you that in-depth tutorials like these, often multi-part tutorials, are what's featured on my Patreon page. So if you're not familiar with Patreon, click in the upper right-hand corner or down in the information box below and learn a little bit about how you can support your favorite artist and get an in-depth tutorial every week in your inbox. Thank you from the bottom of my art heart to all of my current patrons and all of my past patrons, because it is Patreon that helps to keep these videos coming out for free every Friday. So thanks again. Please consider subscribing to my channel or sign up for my newsletter, and you'll receive this video in your inbox as a blog post every week. And that link is going to be in the upper right-hand corner as well. So I'll see you right back here next week.